welcome back to the Daily Journal's Prep Focus on Football. I'm your host, Tim Ahrens. With me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the authority on high school football in the state of Illinois, Steve Soucie. Soucie, we're on location again, this time at Bradley Bourbonnais.
Yeah, out here, everybody's getting ready for the big city showdown this week. Kankakee coming over to Bradley Bourbonnais, so we thought this was a fitting location for week 2.
Well, it is, and you know what? A couple of years ago, and I think I might be dating myself, I think it might be 8 years ago, the Daily Journal sports staff voted this the best location to watch a high school football game.
It's hard to argue with that, and now it's real nice. You got the brand new field turf in here that's settling in real good for him, and it's certainly a very, very good venue to watch a high school football game.
I like it because the crowd's, boom, it's right there.
Right on top of it.
Right there, and,
Yep.
and you can't miss the action. So, before we take a look at week 2, let's look back at week 1. Not a great week weather-wise.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and this is my 21st year covering high school football at the paper, and I can only think of one other time we had games moved off a Friday night, where there was some pretty bad storms and some flooding that I remember moved a Kankakee-Bradley game one day later to Saturday, and some of the other games had been moved to Saturday, and I found another game to go to on Friday night. I wasn't fortunate enough to pull that off this week. Weather rarely wipes out football games, but there was just too much lightning in the area last Friday night.
Yeah, I believe we had 13 games scheduled for Friday and only 2 completed on Friday night. A couple of them were suspended, and then some of them just said, heck with it, we're going to play on Saturday. So, I think we should take a mulligan on that week because of everything, the weather issues and all that. So we're just going to start clean slate 0-0 on our picks.
I really don't think that's going to happen. And I just would like to point out for the record that there was one person who picked the games this week that only missed one game, and everybody else missed more than one game, and you missed 3 games.
I missed 3, but
yeah,
I mean that's
weather. You can be happy about being relatively close, I suppose, if that's the low bar that you're setting for yourself. I mean, you're conceding that you're just going to be chasing all year long, and that's fine, but, that's just the way it is.
All right, well, we better move on to the 11 games that we do have for this week, and we've kind of alluded to the first one already. Kankakee will come here to Bradley Bourbonnais.
This could potentially be a pretty interesting game. Kankakee is coming in with a lot of confidence. They won big last Saturday night over Solario Academy, 46-6. So they'll be ready to go. If they can keep some of that momentum going, they should be an interesting challenge for Bradley Bourbonnais, who struggled more than expected with TF North in their opener. They did end up with a victory, but it took them a long time to take control of that game, a lot longer than I'm sure Bradley was expecting. So I'm going to take the Boilermakers simply because I think they have a little bit more depth, but I do expect a good game.
Yeah, I expect a good game too, and I got to go with Bradley. You home team, that home team.
Okay.
I'm going with the home team.
All right, that's fine. You can pick home teams the entire sheet?
No.
Okay, just
I'm
checking.
Not going to,
just checking, but this could be a lot faster if you just did that.
Well, yeah, that would be fine. I am going to take the home team in this next game, Lake Forest Academy at Bishop McNamara.
Okay, you taking the home team in that one?
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's actually do a little bit of analysis on this rather than why not. Lake Forest Academy is an interesting program. They're not actually IHSA affiliated, but they have some good players. This should be an interesting game for MAC to see if they can get to 2-0 after they beat a pretty talented Hales Franciscan team in week 1. I'm going to take the Fighting Irish. It'll be a good step for them if they can get to 2-0 with a much tougher slate of schedule coming up after that week.
Hey, next we're going to go to the Sangamon Valley, and Chicago Christian's going to travel to Moments.
Well, Moments, narrow loss, long road trip last week to Oregon, 28-21 loss to them. So it basically comes down to Moments should have an opportunity to get themselves back on track with a home game against a program that has fallen on hard times, to be totally honest. Chicago Christian is also 1-0, but barely beat a very weak public league team to get there. So I think Moments will get in the win column this week. I'm taking Moments.
Well, I differed on that because, just because.
Okay.
I thought I needed to gain a game, and
well, it won't be there. You'll just be falling farther behind.
Falling farther behind.
Yeah.
That's probably it. So, hey, next up is a couple of Iroquois County teams. Iroquois West at Milford.
Yeah, Iroquois West and Milford used to be longtime Iroquois County rivals. These guys would play almost every year. but some conference changes led to them not being able to lock up. Non-conference date opened up for both schools, and now they're playing for the first time since 2005. Both teams got off with wins last week, so it sets up a 1-0, an opportunity for one of these two teams to get to 2-0. I think it should be a good game, but I kind of like Milford's specialist a little bit more right now. Got some experience with Devin Laubscher, who had a good game last week, and Jacob Marquez, their quarterback, is capable of throwing and running the football. So I'm going to take Milford this one.
I am also, but I would like to go cover that game because that is a great venue also to watch a football game. That is high school football like at its finest.
It is indeed a really good 1A football venue down there in Milford.
Okay, next up, Paris at Watseka. Paris is coming across the Atlantic.
You're never going to get tired of that joke, are you? I think you've used that every year that we've had non-conference games with Paris.
I think Central plays Paris too.
Central does play Paris in week 3, so we'll use it again. We'll dig that old tired joke out one more time.
Not everybody watches every show, so then you get the old jokes can be recycled.
Okay, you're thinking of the environment with these jokes recycled, huh?
But
okay, there you go. So, well, basically this week Watseka, had a little bit of trouble finishing off Robinson last week. Robinson got the momentum in the second half and took that one from the Warriors. But a young Warrior team here should be able to regroup against Paris, a team that has not been real good for the last couple of seasons. So I'm going to take Watseka.
I'll take Watseka also. They're young, but they're young plus one.
There you go.
So there you go. Okay, let's move over to the Interstate 8. Lyle will travel to Herscher.
Herscher got off to a resounding start, an unexpected resounding start. They scored 51 points in their opener in a win over Westmont. So that game wasn't nearly as close as people thought it was going to be. And I'm not sure Lyle will be able to recover from that tough loss that they took in week 1 to Mantino. Mantino scored in the final minute of the game to snatch away a 21-20 victory. So I'm going to go with Herscher to move to 2-0 on this one.
I'm going to go with Herscher also. And next up will be Coal City at Dwight.
Boy, I was surprised with Coal City's inability to get in the end zone last week. Got shut out by Wilmington. But I wouldn't want to be Dwight playing this game. Coal City is going to be super motivated to get back on the right track, and I think they're probably going to do that against a Dwight team that's going to struggle to match up in this one. I'm taking Coal City.
Yeah, Coal City for me also. Reed Custer at Mantino.
Kind of an interesting game here. Reed Custer took a loss in week 1 to a very good Plano team, but hung in there pretty good. If they can get their offense clicking, this could be an interesting game. Mantino waited a really long time to get going on Saturday night against Lyle, scoring 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to win 21-20. Their passing game seems to not skip a beat. Ethan Kaufman had a huge game in week 1. I'm going to take Mantino, but I do think it's a good game.
That sounds like a good pick. I'll take Mantino as well. Peotone at Seneca. Seneca kind of a little surprising in week 1.
I like this Seneca team. I saw them this summer. I thought they had a little bit more of the skill positions than they have had in past seasons. And it looks like they've got a pretty good chance to be good. Toppled Sandwich, a team that a lot of people thought was going to be right at the top of the I-8 large. Maybe it's time to reassess that, or maybe Seneca's really, really good. So Peotone had a nice win in their opener, 3 touchdowns from Jake Rapson. But I think Seneca might have a little bit too much for him, and I'm going to go with Seneca.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Seneca also, but they devoured Sandwich.
I'm not as good with the jokes as you are.
Use the term loosely.
Yeah.
Hey, well, speaking of Sandwich, they're going to go to that venue. That once again, another great place to watch high school football, Wilmington.
Yeah, that's Wilmington really kind of surprised some people in week 1. They're always good, obviously, but going into Coal City and shutting them out, as well as getting a huge game from a couple of their running backs that, to be honest with you, weren't even listed very highly on the depth chart. They always seem to figure it out in Wilmington. This was a game that a lot of people was looking to as being a match with 2 top Interstate 8 teams. But based on week 1 results, I'd be surprised if Wilmington doesn't come out with a win there, and that's who I'm taking.
I will also take Wilmington. You should have learned your lesson. You always say,
yeah.
Jeffrey.
Well, I only lost 1 game last week, so
you
I don't really
have lost the 1.
I really don't think you're in any position to criticize my picking skills.
This is a perfect position because you preach all the time, pick Wilmington. and you didn't.
No.
So
I'm
you missed
content with my
perfection.
first place
You
standing.
missed
Thank you.
perfection.
Yeah.
Okay, on Saturday, Salem will travel to Central.
Salem, coached by former Peotone coach Kevin Green, has to make a long road trip up to a Central team that looked downright overpowering against Prairie Central in Week 1. They're ranked 4th in Class 2A right now, and this non-conference slate doesn't look like much of a test for them. I think the Comets are probably going to roll to victory in this one and move to 2-0.
Yep, Central.
There you go.
I can't pick against Brian Spooner, our guest last week.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a guest this week too. I believe so.
Yep.
Maybe we should pick the player of the week.
Okay. Central, I'm going to go with them again. J.R. Caspery had a huge game for the Comets. Their quarterback had 4 touchdown passes and about 265 yards throwing through the air. And they probably could have gotten a lot more if they would have needed it. So basically, the Comets were on a roll last week, and Caspery was a big part of that.
Okay. Where are you going to be this week?
This week I'll be right back here, right on this field, watching the city rivalry between Bradley and Kankakee. So I'm looking forward to that.
And as I alluded to, our special guest this week is Bradley Bourbonnais head coach Mike Cole.
Coach, obviously an interesting opening weekend for you. What finally turned the tide for you there against TF North?
I think the biggest thing is trying to get high school kids to come back the day after, especially week 1. We're so excited to play, and we get out here and play 14, 15 plays, and then lightning comes over. But I think the biggest thing against TF North is our conditioning. I think we're in pretty good shape. I feel good about our conditioning. Coach Vogel did a great job with our conditioning, our strength. I think that paid off in the 3rd and 4th quarter. We was going down. And I get a lot of credit to those guys. We're a well-coached team and a lot of athletes on that TF North team. So I feel good about the win.
What are the biggest things that you feel like you have to clean up or get better at heading into this big game with Kankakee?
We just got a lot of kids that have no experience. We graduated 36 seniors in last year's football team, and a lot of them started for us, and so we're trying to deal with a lot of kids that never played, a 7 o'clock game. So just the inexperience, though, we're playing a little bit too fast. Sometimes we got to slow down. I think sometimes our kids, the answer is to play fast, and that's not always the best answer. So I think just to slow down and make sure we're tackling our position and blocking our position, not trying to do everything. So we got a lot of things to fix, though.
I know when you played quarterback at Bradley Bourbonnais, these city games were huge. Do they still hold the same weight with these groups of kids that they did back then?
I think so. As a head coach, this Friday night in the East Gym, I'm not going to say a whole lot. The kids know that they know each other. They respect each other, and we got a lot of respect for Kankakee. They're a lot better than they were last year. They keep improving, and so there's not a lot to be said by the head coach. It's still definitely a rivalry type game, and the kids are excited to play.
Best of luck on Friday. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Coach Cole. And that's going to do it for this week. But be certain to grab a Thursday edition of the Daily Journal. We have our full prep focus on football, stats, capsules, just about everything you need. And really, I think that's going to wrap it up here. So until next week, we'll see you on the sidelines.
Perfect.